And we are now recording. All right. Any questions that anyone has should be directed in the chat to Andy J.R. Leonard. He's a partner here. Okay. So we're going to start with him. I think we can, let's see, what time is it? Yeah, we'll give it one more minute. Okay. And we're going to jump on in and get started. All right. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about the law firm method for dominating Google Maps in 2020. My name is Josh Konigsberg. I'm a partner here at Law Firm Marketing Pros. Very excited today to unpack some really cool methods that we've developed for dominating Google Maps. First things first, I'd like to make a quick announcement, and that is to turn off your cell phones, turn off your Facebook, and if you're a lawyer or you own a law firm and you're serious about getting better results in 2020, the next 60 to 90 minutes will change your life. What we're going to cover today includes a brief history of Google Maps, the latest updates with Google Map listings, the 5 biggest issues that could be preventing you from ranking, our proven model for ranking in the 3-pack, the best tools to systematize and automate. We've done all the heavy lifting, okay, and the 2 secret Google hacks to separate you from your competition. And finally, 2 law firm digital marketing traps to avoid. And I know some of you on this call have lived what I'm going to talk about, and that'll be at the very end. Who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, I'm the author of The Ultimate Guide for Digital Marketing for Law Firms, Your Blueprint to Online Marketing Success, and it is available on Amazon, also downloadable on our website. I'm approved for a CLE credit by the Florida Bar for teaching digital marketing to lawyers. Not to read all of this, but I have spoken at the Palm Beach County Bar, and at the very end, you can see highlighted that I've been a guest lecturer at the graduate program at the University of Miami School of Business. I'm currently the vice president of a Business Network International, that's BNI. I'm the vice president of a BNI chapter. I'm widely accepted as a premier expert in digital marketing for law firms. I've driven clients to law firms across the United States for the past 8 years with a great deal of success. And we have many happy law firms, as you can see, and many, many more. Couldn't fit any more on that page if I tried. 2 quick questions. What's the first thing you do as a consumer if you need a product or service and don't have a relationship or a referral? And I don't need to dive into that any deeper than to say we all do the same thing. We go online, and when we go online, we go to Google. The second question I like to ask is, where's the best place to hide a dead body? And the answer is page 2 of Google. And it's a little joke we say in the industry because nobody ever goes to and looks on page 2. So let's understand the search engine results page, something we affectionately refer to as a SERP in the industry, okay? And I'm going to break down a SERP for you. The top section of the SERP is Google Ads or paid search, also known as pay-per-click. And this is a modified auction system. And we've all seen it. We've all seen these ads populate before you get to a map. Typically, there's anywhere 3 to 4, sometimes 5 ads, but mostly we see 4, depending on how many people are bidding. Very complicated stuff. I will be doing a webinar in the not too distant future, specifically on pay-per-click. So stay tuned in your emails for that. The Google My Business section is next. We refer to it as GMB. Most people refer to it as Google Maps. The map displays when there's commercial intent. And commercial intent would be, let's say, a niche keyword plus a city. So The example I use is best divorce lawyer in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's the section right there, okay? So we're gonna call that GMB, and Google started sneaking in paid ads at the top of that section, as you can see there with OMB Law. Our client here is Florida Women's Law Group in the #1 organic position in Google My Business. And the difference between the two is O&B is paying for a click, and I would guess that keyword, best divorce lawyer in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville is the largest city in Florida, so it's going to be hyper competitive. He's probably, depending upon the day, anywhere from $50, $60, maybe even $75 a click. I've seen them actually much higher. Okay, for Florida Women's Law Group, the clicks are free. So it only makes sense that it's more cost effective and therefore more efficient. The way the algorithm works is like a point scoring system. It uses both positive and negative indicators to determine your overall score for any given keyword search. So think of it like credit. You do things the credit bureaus like, they reward you with points. You do things they don't like, and they penalize you. Google does the same thing. The key is to know what those indicators are and leverage them to your advantage. Below the map, we have the organic section, as you can see here in this graphic. The section outlined in blue is beneath the map. This is a different algorithm than the map. It has some of the same, but also many different factors as GMB, and there is some overlap with some of those factors. One of the big differences, though, is you can rank for cities where you do not have a hard address. So that if you, in this particular case, you weren't in Jacksonville, or you were in Jacksonville and you wanted to rank in St. Augustine, you can rank below the map. However, you get fewer clicks and fewer conversions, and therefore it's not as cost effective. Ideally, you want to differentiate yourself from the competitors. You do not want to be one of these little red dots. You want to be a big dot. You want to be the one they pick first. So where do most searches happen? Well, about this time last year, Google did a survey. 94% of all searches happen on some type of Google property. Okay, we have 69% plus here on Google, another 20% over here on Google Images. Google owns YouTube. There's another almost 3%, et cetera, et cetera. That basically means this, that everybody else has 6% of the market share. So really Google's is it. We all know that anyway. I'm going to talk about a brief history of the Google Maps, what it used to be called. When they introduced it in 2004, it was called Google Local. In 2005, 2006, they changed it to Google Maps. Then they changed it in 2009 to Google Place Pages. And in 2010, they changed it 3 times, Google Places, then Google Pages, then Google Hotspot. 2012, they changed it to Google Plus Pages, and Google Plus Business Pages. One of the big myths that happened at that time is that most business owners who were working and trying to optimize in Google, or if they were hiring an SEO company or a digital marketing agency, they were confusing Google Plus because the consumer Google Plus was Google's competitive response to Facebook. So they thought Google Plus for Business was also a competitive response to Facebook. It was not, and those people were left behind, and it took a lot for them to catch up, and still some of them haven't. We've been doing Google My Business since 2011, 2012. So in 2014, Google My Business was launched. Originally, it had 7 listings, what was called the local pack, and in August of 2015, they reduced it to just 3 listings, what we call the 3-pack. There's a graphic of what it looks like. You don't have to memorize it. There's not going to be a quiz later, but over here is where we started, and this is where we ended up in 2014. But Google continues to make changes. We're going to talk about those changes in a minute, but here's why it's critically important. This is a heat map. The red area is where people's eyes look when they get to the search engine results page. So people are looking on the map more than anywhere else. I do a lot of public speaking, as we saw earlier, throughout South Florida. I asked by a raise of hands, who clicks on the map? Everyone clicks on the map. Everybody raises their hands. I asked by a raise of hands, who clicks on paid ads? about 1% of the people over an 8-year period say they click on the map. I mean, click on the ads. Here's another graphic, and this is the proportion of views on maps versus search for Google My Business. And we can see that 75% of them are looking from a regular search. Map views would be whether they're logging on right into maps from a smartphone. I've actually seen people look over their shoulders and watch people go right to maps to do a search. I was very surprised actually when I saw that, but some people do it. So your clicks by position, this is a great graphic. The number 1 position is here. It gets the most number of clicks, which would make sense. That's over 20%. The number 2 position is at 13.32, and the number 3 position is 13.14. So you can see it drops down from there. It's a no-brainer. We all know this anyway, just edifying it. So the biggest changes that we've seen are this. Google serving paid ads in the map results, as we saw earlier. Google has recently added practitioner listings for attorneys, for doctors, and for dentists. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. They're having more frequent core algorithm updates. It used to be 1 to 2 a year. Now it's more like 4 or 5 a year. Those are core algorithm updates. However, they do 2 to 3 minor tweaks per day to the algorithm. It's kind of mind-boggling. 500 to 600 changes, edits per year to the algorithm. And they're moving towards something called zero-click searches, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute also. And that's pretty much how we feel here at Law Firm Marketing Pros with all these changes going on. So what's a practitioner listing for an attorney? What's it look like? Well, Google added this feature early in 2018 and provided an opportunity for a practitioner who was part of a group to promote themselves on Google with their own Google My Business listing. It also provided a place for consumers to leave reviews for individual practitioners, so that before this, if I wanted to leave a review for a specific attorney that I met with or a doctor who was part of a group, there was nowhere for me to leave the review. I had to leave it within the group. So he really didn't get any accolades for it, he or she. So Google defines a practitioner as a practitioner listing is an individual practitioner who is a public-facing professional, technically with his or her own customer base. So that's the definition right out of Google. So the biggest changes we've seen, and this is from 2017 and 2018, I could not find any more recent graphic to represent this. And this has obviously changed from 2018 to today, but we can see that there was a change here in the Google My Business listing signals of about 20%. Some of the other stuff, link signals, on-page signals remain the same. And I'm going to dive in deeper to some of this, but we can see the increase in review signals. That is actually, that trend has continued, as well as page load speed and hosting. And we're going to dive into that also today. So what does Google want? Google wants to provide trusted, relevant results to the consumer, because if the consumer can't trust the results they're seeing from Google, they're going to go somewhere else. They want to keep you coming back. Why? Because there's the off chance that you are going to click on an ad if you come back. That's where they make their money, on the pay-per-click ads. And now they want to keep you there. And they're doing that with something called zero-click searches. Okay? They want to keep you on a Google property. And that would be your Google My Business listing. They want your questions answered in something called a featured snippet. And I'm going to show you what that is in just a second. And want you to go to, they want you on YouTube or Google videos. Okay? Why? Because they want us to trust them and stay there. The longer we stay there, the more chance of us clicking on an ad. So what's a featured snippet? So in this particular graphic, we can see that the outlined area here is a paid ad, and the section beneath it with the photograph is a featured snippet. I'm going to give you another representation of that. So that is a featured snippet, and this is a featured snippet. And I'm going to dive into this just a little deeper so we can see it better here on the next slide. So the question is, how do you deal with a narcissist divorce? That's a very popular category today for family law attorneys, because a contentious divorce is an expensive divorce, right? So if you can see the arrow is up, that means I clicked it and it opened up the answer, versus that arrow, which is down. If I click on that arrow on a live page, it's going to open up and give us an answer. So this is not part of the maps, but I'm just sharing with you what Google has changed recently. And you get here as one of these answered questions with well-written and properly tagged and linked content. And again, that's something I'm going to discuss on a future webinar. So June of last year, just about 10 months ago, this is what zero-click searches look like. More than 50% of all searches resulted in a zero-click search. Okay, and then you can see your 45% on organic and just about 4.5% on paid ads. So there's so little space, but so many competitors, okay? You can only get on the map if you have a hard address in that city. So how many competitors are there for what you do in your market or your city? This represents a big opportunity for those who can get in the top 3. And this gives the forward-thinking lawyer an opportunity to exploit the most valuable advertising space on the planet. And I will say that again, Google is the most valuable advertising space on the planet. And the beauty is you don't have to pay for the clicks. So again, do you want to be one of those little dots? Of course not. So the 5 biggest issues preventing you from ranking on the map are, and these are the things that Google penalizes you for the most, okay? Did you claim and verify your listings, your various listings in all the different directories in the ecosystem? So for Google, that's your GMB listing. Have you verified and claimed your listing in the data aggregators, in other business listing directories, in vertical directories? So the ecosystem looks like this, and not to spend too much time on it, but basically the data aggregators are these guys on the top. They are in the business of acquiring business information, aggregating it, and then verifying the accuracy of it, and they sell it to other directories in the ecosystem. And there's thousands and thousands of directories. So the simplest example I could think of is if you went to Yelp when they launched 10, 12 years ago looking for a dentist, there were no dentists in Yelp's database. Would you go back? Probably not, because it wasted your time. So Yelp, if you follow the lines, and I could show you a live version of this where I can chart the lines for every single one. Yelp, let's say Yelp is buying their information. I know that they buy it from Factual. Well, what happens is that Factual has aggregated and verified information. Every month, Yelp downloads data, updated information, change of address, change of a business name, any new businesses that were created, they buy that information from Factual. So that's how Yelp got their content when they started. So over here and over here, you see a bunch of different directories. They're really too small to see. Most of you have probably not heard of most of them. Most of you have not heard of Hot Frog or Mojo Pages or Yellow or Yellowbot. It doesn't matter. Google gives these other business listing directories a lot of credibility. They have something called a domain authority. We're going to talk about domain authority a little bit later, but they're important to Google, and that's what matters. So inconsistent name, address, and phone number. That's your NAP, okay, in the ecosystem. Google really, really penalizes heavily for this. So the NAP must be consistent to create the trust within Google. But where? Where should it be consistent? It should be consistent on your GMB listing, on your website, in the data providers and aggregators that I just showed you, in the business listing directories like Yellow Pages, Manta, Brown Book, okay, and in vertical directories like lawyers.com, Avo, FindLaw, and etc. Also in review sites, Yelp, Lawyer Ratings, and Legal Advice, and in all your published content, your blogs and your press releases. So what else could be hurting your Google rankings? Being spammy with your Google My Business listing. So you need an office in the city, a hard address that you want to rank well in Google Maps. So did you try to spam Google with a fake location? Did you spam your city and company business name or categories, a Google category? Do you have the proper Google categories even selected? Do you have enough real reviews across the web? You might not have enough engagement with consumers. And keyword stuffing is a big no. And violating Google terms of service. And you might not even know what they are, but we have seen this, and here's what happens. Your account gets suspended, and now you're in purgatory. And we've actually seen businesses almost come to the brink of shutting down until we got them re-verified and fixed the problem that they created by violating Google best practice. Keywords and service offerings. So is your website thin on content, and is the metadata incomplete or incorrect? We see it every day when we take over a client from another digital marketing agency. It's amazing to me how many digital marketing agencies build websites, or website builders that build sites that are thin on content, or the metadata is incorrect. Are your most important keywords properly optimized and continually optimized? On your site, you need a separate page for each service that you provide, so that if you're a family law attorney, you need a separate page for child custody, for child support, for prenuptial agreements, et cetera, et cetera. The pages need to be tagged with keywords in the headers and in anchor text. And each page has to be at least 800 words, and it has to read naturally. And you need consistent distribution of blog and press release content in the ecosystem with the proper linking and backlinking. In this particular case, what I'm demonstrating here is this attorney, Greg McCullen, Complete Legal Defense Team. He's one of our clients. As you can see, what Google's actually displaying now, their website mentions criminal defense lawyers. Guess what the keyword search was? Criminal defense lawyers. He's in Myrtle Beach, right here, Myrtle Beach. So I typed in criminal defense lawyers, Myrtle Beach. He pops up in the #1 position. And that's in part what you're seeing here with that. That's what Google wants. The fifth thing that they penalize the most for is hosting. So the quality of your hosting of your website has a direct impact on your Google ranking score, and it's more important now than ever before. So we like to say GoDaddy is no daddy. GoDaddy is the worst. Not to get into too much detail on it, but because they overload their servers and it's shared space, it's not secure. Google's penalizing for all of those things. Because it's shared space, it's slow. Okay, you need to make sure your website is secure and have an SSL certificate. If you don't, Google's going to penalize you. It's going to penalize for speed. The average person today will only wait 2.3 seconds. That's the average, 2.3 seconds for a site to load. If it doesn't load, they hit the back button and go to the next person. Your site needs to be monitored for breakage and consistently monitored 24/7. So what does breakage mean? So if it's a WordPress site, WordPress is an open platform. And what happens is let's say I invented the next greatest WordPress widget. Let's just say it was a countdown timer. And 100,000 people bought my countdown timer, or they got it for free. It was a free countdown timer. And I decided to change it. Well, what happens is that code changes. And so those 100,000 people who have that countdown timer on their website, the code now isn't the same and it breaks. So do you want to wait a week or a month, or do you want to instantly know that something's not working on your website? Of course you want to know instantly, and Google's going to penalize you if you have broken widgets or plugins on your website. Proximity. Proximity equals speed. So that, let's just say, for example, that you're in Atlanta, your website is being hosted in Germany or in Russia or Canada. There's a lot of Canadian hosting services. Does it take longer for the data to transmit from Canada to Jacksonville? Or if we were able to move that hosting and slide it around, which is what we can do, slide around, let's just say the hosting was out of Atlanta. So it's going to download faster if it's closer to where the searcher is. And this is all considered technical SEO stuff. So our proven model for ranking in the 3-pack. is this. These are the things that Google rewards the most for. And again, this is the most recent graphic I could get. And again, some of this information has changed, but I can tell you that the number one thing here is your Google My Business signals. The number two thing is going to be your link signals. The number three is your review signals. The number four is your on-page signals. And Google wants to see synergy between your on-page signals and your off-page work, so that everything kind of comes together to get a lot of points in the point scoring system. Here's another way to look at it. So these are the 26 Google ranking factors as they are ranked. I know it's tough to see, but there's actually over 200 ranking factors. And within those 200 ranking factors, there are some sub-ranking factors. So it goes on out ad infinitum. Okay, but if you just take a quick look at the top few, the relevance of overall page content, the quality of your linking the sites, et cetera, these move around a little bit and have actually, since this was published in August of last year, these bounce around a little bit. So own the search results with our proven model. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpack for you what it really takes. Now that we know what Google doesn't like, this is what they like, this is what it takes. So you want to clean up all those negative ranking factors that I just showed you. Then you want to optimize and maintain all of your digital assets and your digital properties. Your website needs to be fully optimized for your most important keywords. Your third-party listings, that's with Yellow Pages, Yelp, Avo, lawyers.com, et cetera, and there's thousands of them, and you don't need to be in all of them. You don't need to be in realtor.com or RateMDs. They're not relevant to you, but you need to be in about 1,000 of them. You need hyper-optimized hosting. You need to create and acquire valued backlinks. You need content creation and syndication. You need fresh quality reviews with wide distribution throughout the ecosystem. So this example, we can see outlined in red is another one of our clients. He's got a paid ad. And again, I'm not here to talk about paid ads. I'm just showing an example, but he is above the map, beneath the map, and also in the number one organic position. So what we're looking at here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 3 of the 7 spaces on page 1 of the SERP for corporate attorney in his city. He's dominating the map. He owns the search results. So this is another heat map. As you can see, a lot of people do look above the map. They come to the map and then they drop down. So just so you're in here, you're fine. The key is to be on the map. I want to talk a little bit more in depth about individual practitioner listings, because this is really where you can begin to dominate, especially for some specific keywords. In this particular example, we have a personal injury attorney who's a client. His name is Gary Judah. He is a partner at Judah, Cohen & Judah, PA. So in this search result, if I were just to type in personal injury attorney, they're in Plantation, Florida. If I were to type in car accident attorney, most likely his practitioner listing will not rank on the map. So what we do is we try to focus on some of the other areas of law that we can get them to rank in, so he owns the map. So basically he has 66.7% of the organic listings on page 1 for the search query, boat accidents, attorney or lawyer, boat accident lawyer in Plantation, Florida. So in essence, we created digital Google billboard for the partners and associates in the law firm. And that's his. And optimizing this properly and doing the other things that we do that we're talking about today gets him there. So it gets you found and seen for the subspecialties of law. So the other nice part about this, I'm just going to back up. The other nice part about this is that it pushes your competitors to page 2 with all the dead bodies. So the goal is to dominate maps by creating an online omnipresence, an increased digital footprint. So you get more clicks, more leads, more calls, more consultations, more clients, and more profits. That's the ultimate goal. And the quality of your marketing and intake process, and that's your side of it, will determine your conversion rate. And I can't stress that enough, the intake process. So some of the things that we use, the tools that we use to get you in the 3-pack include Google My Business, a fully optimized and maintained website with the proper metadata, your citations listed in all of the important, and I'm going to give you a list of the important directories and vertical directories for your market. Proper backlinks, both in all those directories. In the directories, you get to put a backlink in, and that adds value in the point scoring system, but backlinks in other places. So for example, if you do a press release and you get that press release syndicated to the right places, we can get high value backlinks, which Google's going to add points to the algorithm. Proper and consistent NAP and information in social media with significant engagement, and then consistent reviews throughout the ecosystem. So with reviews, you want them, you want velocity, you need a lot of them, you need frequency, you need quantity, and you need quality. And you need breadth. You have got to have a wide swath throughout the ecosystem. So the first thing you need to do is claim and optimize your Google My Business listing. So make sure you have a login for your Google My Business account. Update your company name to read company name. Don't add any keywords there. That's really important. Add your website address. This will create an important inbound link. Use a local number, not an 800 number, okay? And or a tracking number. This is new. You can add a tracking number and move your primary local business number to an additional number field, which they just recently provided. You can use a local address. You have to use a local address. You cannot use a PO box or a UPS store. Make sure you select the proper Google category so that if you're in family law, you have to choose divorce law. Just don't pick lawyer. And when you upload photos, you want to upload as many as possible, but you want to use personal photos. Pictures of yourself, the partners in the firm, pictures of your staff, pictures of the office, pictures of your happy clients, your logo, pictures of you at the courthouse. People connect and resonate with other people. List your hours of operation and services offered. So the way to do it is this. You go to google.business.com to get the ball rolling and go in the right direction. And you're either going to create a new Google My Business listing or claim the listing if it already exists. So what that means is this: if you're in the ecosystem, if you're in one of those data providers, if you're in Yelp, if you're in YP, you have a Google My Business listing, you just haven't claimed it yet. And it's as simple as clicking that button or that button. That's what it looks like when you log on to Google, business.google.com. So just click the button. It says manage now, and off you go. And when you get in, this is what your dashboard looks like. And over here in the left-hand column, you can navigate. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the info button and you're going to start populating your info. You're going to go to services offered and you're going to add your services that you provide. You're going to go to photos. You're going to start uploading photos, et cetera, et cetera. So building citations with consistent NAP. There are thousands of citations across the ecosystem. I mentioned that earlier. You want to consistently reference the name of the company, the address, and the phone number. You have to keep an eye out for limited, duplicate, or incorrect business information. That is so critical. And you want to start with high domain authority citation and business listing directories first. And you can use arefs.com or moz.com to find a listing. And here's a quick little sample of about 400 of the business listing directories, just to give you an idea. Pay attention to your data aggregators. So this is a sample of a report that I pulled for a law firm, and he was only in 2 of the 4 data aggregators. which means that anybody who gets fed from factual and anybody gets fed from info group, his information isn't there. So he's not getting populated throughout the ecosystem. Basically, he scored a 50%. Last I checked, that's not a good score. So the best tools for citations, well, we find if we do it manually, that's always the best. We actually start out with a tool called Bright Local to get the ball rolling, but we go back in and fill in the gaps and do it manually. Bright Local just saves us a little bit of time. Moz Local has a tool, Advice Local, White Spark, and then Yext. We tried all 4 of those. There were too many errors for us to continue to use them, so we terminated our relationship with them. But that's why we go in behind Bright Local and fill in the gaps and then continue to add month over month. So if you want to run a free citation and consistency and accuracy report and get the top 35 to 40 high domain authority sites, and this will include your data aggregators, and it also will include voice search, all you have to do is go to lawfirmmarketingpros.com/free-tools, and you can run a free report to see how you're doing. This is a sample of another report that we run for our clients when we get started. And this particular client was pretty happy because he felt he was okay because he scored a 100% on his Google My Business listing. And all that's telling us is that his Google My Business listing has been claimed and it's been built. It doesn't mean that it's been optimized properly. His overall score was a 38%, which, as we all know, is not a good score. So your citation best practices include manually claiming and optimizing your Google My Business listing. You want to use a citation tool like Moz for direct API to the top 50 citation listings. This is just to get you started, okay? You need to get listed or verified in those major data aggregators, and then leverage a tool like Bright Local Citation Finder or White Spark to find niche listing opportunities. And I'm going to show you the top 10 niche listing opportunities for lawyers today. So these are the top generic citations for law firms. And we're familiar with most of these. We all know what Facebook, Yelp, MapQuest, Yellow Pages is. We all know Yahoo Local, but some of you may not know who Manta is or Superpages or Dex knows. These are important directories because Google gives them high domain authority. I'm going to show you what that means in just one second. So how many legal citation sites are there? Anybody have any idea? I don't want to mute anybody, but you can drop it in the chat if you want. I'll tell you, I was really surprised that it is more than 80 citation sites just for the law field. And here they are right here. This is your top 10. And you can see here, DA stands for domain authority. So what that means is this, is that Justia, you guys all know what Justia is, you know what FindLaw is, Avo, etc., lawyers.com. So Google has given a numeric ranking to every single website. And on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the highest, that's how Google values it. The higher the score, the more Google values it. So if you want to start getting points faster, start with Justia and FindLaw and NoLo and so on and so forth. We are going to make this list available to anybody who requests it at the end of the webinar. Reviews, reviews, reviews. This is your strategy for driving consistent quality reviews. So you want to leverage tools to request a review after every good meeting you have with the client. You want to train your staff to get a review prior to them leaving the office, not your staff, but the client. You want to implement an automated email review system. You want to make a call after that meeting to walk them through the review process. And obviously you're going to delegate that to your staff, to a paralegal. And you want to build reviews and recognition into your company culture. It is so, so important. So the best tools for review automation, well, we analyzed every review platform available. We determined that the most effective is a comprehensive review getting system, and there was nothing out there. So we've done all the heavy lifting and helped develop that system. Actually, we did the work with a with one of the original programmers from Norton, and we have this wonderful program called Reviewable. I'm going to do a webinar in the very near future on reputation marketing and reviews and Reviewable. So the results of a great review getting system, and we can see the curve here. This is a law firm. He started with us. He was right about here. And now he has a 4.91 star average with 556 reviews. It's not a pizza shop. This is a law firm. So he has certainly, if not the best reputation in his market, close to it. But with that number of reviews, it just blows everybody away. So they're getting the first click or the first call. So your on-page SEO best practices. So clear representation of your business name and services provided. Again, this is for your website on page. You want your NAP with a map. You want a call to action button. So you want a call now button or a click the call button. You want directions. You want your business hours. You want your contact information. You want a separate page for each service with a minimum of 800 words per page. Let's talk about hosting. So if your hosting isn't guaranteed with a score of 90 on something called GTmetrix, I'm going to show you an example of GTmetrix, you've got a problem. And that's your technical SEO aspect having to do with page speed scores. You should also have 90 days of offsite backup. You need real uptime monitoring with instant internal alerts. What an internal alert means is that if something breaks, you don't need to be notified. You don't need to be bothered by it while you're in the middle of a deposition. You just need someone who's providing a level of service that's taking care of it for you. And you need weekly updates for your plugins and your themes with 24/7 support, just in case there's an emergency. 100% uptime through automatic failover servers. So one rolls to the other, to the other. And a weekly performance review to ensure your performance score sticks, and your performance scores are your GTmetrix scores. GTmetrix.com is a free tool. You can go there, put your domain name in, and it'll run your score for you. I'm going to show you that example in a second. And the locations of your servers. I discussed this briefly earlier. So it's geolocation of where they're at. We have servers strategically placed all over the country, so they're going to be closer to where the client is searching from. So it rolls where the client's pulling the information from, and that just enhances your speed. So here's an example. Here's the before. And we looked at Cohen and Judah earlier. This is their website when we started with them. Their score was a 64 and a 56 with a load speed time of 4.8 seconds. Remember, you've got about 2.3 seconds. And here's the after. He scored a 100 and a 100. Again, 4.8. We got him to a 2.5. We did not build their website. I am begging him to let us build the website so we can get this load speed time down to around 2 seconds. We have some sites loading in a second and a half. So here are your bonus Google My Business hacks. Hack number 1 is how you tag your photos. So it's funny, I've talked to people and oh yeah, tagging photos is easy. Well, here's what you never do. You never just tag the photo like it's a picture of the paralegal Karen or it's ABC Law Firm's logo. You never do it that way. You tag it like this with the name, address, and phone number and your important keywords. And most people think that's okay, but here's the real hack on this. You add the latitude and longitude of the location. Google loves it, and you get more points. Hack number 2, use Google Maps when driving to the office. Every staff member should do it every single day because Google treats all businesses the same when it comes to Google My Business. So it's probably the most frequently searched tool used for Google Maps for business is probably restaurants. And how often have you done that? You hit the map button on your smartphone and you got navigation and you get to where you need to go. So Google, the more people that do that, the more Google values and therefore trusts that business. The more people that go to a business, obviously it must be a good business, you get trust. Do the same thing for your business every single day for every employee. You will add points to the scoring system. Here's your bonus law firm digital marketing business traps. Buying into secondary directories. I see this every single day. No one likes to be redirected to another directory from their Google search, do they? No one does. No one likes to be redirected when they click through accidentally onto YP or lawyers. If I wanted to go to Yellow Pages, I would have typed Yellow Pages. If I wanted to go to lawyers.com, I would have typed in lawyers.com. What do people do when they get there by accident? They hit the #1 button in all of the internet, back, upper left-hand corner, back. We use the internet because it's convenient and it saves us time. Being redirected to a secondary directory is neither convenient and it's a waste of our time. So it actually is aggravating. So examples of this include Yellow Pages, Yelp, FindLaw, etc. Their business model today has changed. It's very, very simple. They want to cannibalize Google's traffic, taking the traffic away from Google to their website so they can sell more ads. Trap number 2, you don't own the digital asset. That's right, okay? So you're paying for your digital asset every month, you don't own it. Basically, you're just leasing it. So there are several larger groups out there, not gonna mention any names. However, one example would include a company that is named after a small insect-like animal that when it stings you, it can be fatal. Yes, they own your website if you engage with them. Don't get stung by that company. So again, our proven formula to rank in the 3-pack includes Google My Business, a properly optimized website with the proper metadata, the right amount of content, keywords, etc. Being properly listed with the right name, address, and phone number in all the directories with all your proper information. High value backlinks. Your social media is accurate. The information is accurate and consistent, and reviews. This is how you do it. So again, here's 2 examples of results. Okay, you want to be where Florida Women's Law Group is, and you want to be where Gary Judah and Cohen and Judah is. So what's next? You have 4 options. You can do nothing and hope your referral sources will continue to send you leads. You can do it yourself. You can schedule a 15-minute discovery call with me and see if we're fit to do some work together to get you on the map. And here's a link to my discovery call calendar. It's right here. If you want it, I can drop it in the chat for you. I said 4, right? I said 4. I just showed you 3. Okay. Or you can schedule a digital marketing strategy session with me directly. And that strategy session is going to include an analysis of your online visibility, custom keyword list of the most important search term with the most important search terms for your business, for your type of law, a ranking report showing where you currently rank, an analysis of your online directory listings and the consistency thereof, an analysis of your online reviews and reputation, an analysis of your website conversion effectiveness, an analysis of your hosting, a competitive analysis so we see how you stand next to your competition. And then from there, we can develop a roadmap and a plan that's best for your firm. So here's a link to my 60-minute calendar. So you can drop your email in the chat and I'll send you a link to that meeting of your choice. Just all you have to do is simply specify whether you want a 15-minute discovery call or if you're ready for the full 60-minute evaluation. There's our number. Now, anyone who has any questions, you can drop them in the chat to Andy or myself or the group. It doesn't matter to me. We can do. We can look at any of them. You can drop it in any of them. I have the chat open now. Are there any questions? And I can even unmute. But Andy J.R. Leonard should populate there in your if you hit the chat button. I've got it open up on here on my other screen. I'll just give it a minute or 2. No questions? Okay, so it doesn't appear as though we have any questions at the moment, so that's a wrap for today. I look forward, I want to thank everybody for participating on today's call, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody next time for my next webinar, which is going to be about a month from now. Stay tuned. Thanks. Have a great day. And again, appreciate you being here.